This is lesson 3.2b for algebra, and it's on solving an equation for y. Now, it says, remember when solving for y, the goal is to get y by itself on the left side of the equation. So our goal is for our equation to look like this: y equals mx plus b. Now the reason that is important is because when you have an equation in this format, whatever the m is the slope, or what we call the rate of change. You could call it that as well, rate of change. So you can recognize the rate of change, and you can also recognize the y-intercept. And the y-intercept is where x equals 0. It's the place on the graph where the line crosses the y-axis. So if you have the equation in this format, those are two things that you can answer very easily because you have them showing up right there in your equation. So let me just give you an example of an equation. Let's say I have y equals 2x minus 3. Then I know the slope is 2, positive 2, and the y-intercept is negative 3. There's the slope, or sometimes we call it m, slope, and this is the y-intercept. Okay, so to help you in solving equations for y equals mx plus b, we're going to use Toad. Here he is. It's to help you remember. This is how we do it. We take the x over and, oops, I want to make that a capital, and divide. Take the x over and divide. T-O-A-D. So let's look at the first one. It says 2x plus y equals 7. We want to get y by itself, so we're going to subtract 2x. We're going to take the x over to the other side. So y, look, you're going to take 7 minus 2x over here. So you have these cancel out. You have a y left over, and you have 7 minus 2x. Or, if you'd like, just take that negative 2x and tuck it right in front of the 7. That way we have it y equals negative 2x plus 7. Now you have your m in the right place and you have your y-intercept in the right place. Let's try the next one. We want to solve this equation for y. So we want to take the x over and then divide. So we're going to add 1/2 x to both sides. I'm going to take that 1/2 x, I'm going to tuck it right in front of the 6. So now let's see what we have left over. We have negative y left over on this side equals 1/2 x plus 6. Now we're not done yet because it doesn't say y equals, it says negative y equals. And so we want to get that negative sign off of there. So I ask you, what number is in front of that y that we don't see? We don't see negative 1. So we're going to divide everything by negative 1. That's what we mean by divide. So we're going to divide everything by negative 1. Well, let me tell you a hint. When you divide by negative 1, the only thing that happens is the signs change. These cancel out, so the negative y is now positive y. The positive 1/2 x is now negative 1/2 x, and the plus 6 is minus 6. And there you are. You've solved for y. You took the x over and divided by negative 1. Let's try another one. Number 3. We have 4x minus y equals negative 5. So let's take the x over. We're going to subtract 4x on both sides. I'm going to take that minus 4x and tuck it right in front of the minus 5. So these cancel out, and now we have negative y equals negative 4x minus 5. Now what do I have to do? We took the x over, now we're going to divide. What are we dividing by on this one? We're going to divide each side by negative 1. And when we divide by negative 1, I just now gave you a hint. What happens when we divide by negative 1? The only thing that happens is all the signs change. So if you see this negative y out here in the front, change it to positive y. Make the minus 4x positive 4x, and make the minus 5 plus 5. Because we just divided the whole thing by negative 1. And that's the only thing that changes is the sign. Okay, let's try the next one. We want to get y by itself. Well, x is already over on the right side on this one. We don't need to take it over. All we need to do is divide. And what are we going to divide by to get the y by itself? We're going to divide by 5. So I'm going to divide that by 5. I'm going to divide the 10 by 5. I'm going to divide the 20 by 5. So I get y equals 10 divided by 5 is 2x plus 4. And we're done. Let's try number 5. Remember, Toad, take the x over and divide. Well, the x is already over on the right side. It's good. So the only thing we have to do is divide. So we're going to divide by -3 to get that y by itself. So I'm dividing each part by -3. So these cancel out, and I have y. 6 divided by -3 is -2x. Use your calculator if you don't know. Put 6 divided by -3. And then on your calculator, you're going to do -3 divided by -3. And when you do that, you get +1. And there's your answer. Y equals -2x plus 1. The slope is -2. The y-intercept is 1. Let's try number 6. Toad, take the x over and divide. So right now we have a 4x here on this side. So let's subtract 4x. I'm going to subtract 4x over here. So these cancel out. 2y, and I'm going to take that 4x when I subtract it, I'm going to put it right in front of the 12, is equal to -4x plus 12. Now, we took the x over, so what are we going to do now? We're going to divide. Take the x over and divide. So now we're going to divide by 2. Everything gets divided by 2, every part. So you get y equals -4 divided by +2 is -2, and 12 divided by 2 is 6. So you get y equals -2x plus 6. Why don't you try number 7 without my help? Hit pause and do it. See what you can do. Okay, so on number 7, this should be your final answer. If you used your calculator, you might have y equals -0.5x minus 2. Either way is fine. It's y equals -1/2x minus 2. Take the x over, that's the +3, and then divide by -6. Everything gets divided. So let's do the last one. We're going to take the x over and divide. So let's subtract 27x, and I'm going to subtract that right in front of the 12. So we're going to go like this. These cancel out. We have -3y. I forgot to put my 27x there. And equals, and I'm going to put that in front of the 12, -27x plus 12. So we took the x over. Now what are we going to do? Now divide. Take the x over and divide. So let's divide by -3. -3, -3. Y equals, put that in your calculator, -27 divided by -3. You get +9x minus 4. And there you are. So that's how we divide to get, that's how we solve for y. So a few things just to remember, to recap. Toad, take the x over and divide. A couple things you want to remember is that when you take the x over, it's easier if you just tuck it in the front. So like if I had 3x plus 4y equals 12, when I take the x over, I'm always going to put it in front of there. So I get 4y equals -3x plus 12, and now I'm going to divide everything by 4. So I get y equals -3 over 4x plus 3. So tuck it in front of the number that's right there. And then remember, when we divide, we're going to divide whatever is on the y. We're going to divide everything with that number. And if it happens to be a -1, for example, if we had 2x minus y equals 6, take the x over, and we're going to divide. When we're dividing by just a negative, there's a -1 there. The easiest thing to do is just change all the signs, because we're dividing by -1, and that's what happens when you divide by -1. The only thing that changes is the sign. Okay, that's your lesson, and I'll see you in class.